Hi everyone, how are you doing today? Look what I just got. I know. The last thing I need is another drugstore palette. I tried to fight it. I stayed away from it. Even when Carli declared the release of this, I was like, no, I don't need it. I have the first palette and I'm not too crazy about it. I like the formula. Colors don't work for me. This one looks similar. Why would I spend more money to get the exact same thing plus like 5 more shades? Right? So I was decided I'm not gonna buy it. But then I was walking through Ulta and I happened to glance at their display, and rest is history, as they say. I was actually expecting to have the same kind of experience as I had with the first palette. So let me tell you what happened. This was my very first visit to Ulta. I didn't know anything about makeup. Actually, I went to one more store before that and I got laughed at for calling some shadows Morphe because I had only heard Morphe's name. I used to not even watch, the beauty YouTube much before. I watched a few videos. I heard Morphe's name so many times that I thought that was, the bomb, like the top company. So I went to a store and I said, oh, are these Morphe shadows? And they kind of laughed at me. So I was like, well, then Morphe's not good. So needless to say, I was scared. But I walk into Ulta and I see this display with Carli's face on it. And it was like meeting an old friend at a party where you don't know anybody and you're wishing you would have never come. You know what I mean? I was so happy that, I picked up this palette. I was missing all my friends because I had just moved away from all of them. And Carli's videos was something that we used to do together. So I picked it up, brought it home, swatched it, and I was like, most of the colors look pretty much the same on my skin. If I put them side by side, I can't even tell a difference. I almost returned the palette. Not almost, I actually returned the palette. But then the thought of this one going to trash was so painful that I requested the salesperson to sell it back to me. She had to contact the manager and all that, and they sold it back to me. So I bought it back and never pretty much used it besides swatching and wondering why I bought this and kept it. So I bought this as well. But at that time, I also had a $10 off of 30 coupon, and Ulta had sent me a $15 gift card for messing up one of my online orders. So I bought this and the NYX paint pot, and I ended up paying like $8 or something on the whole transaction. So I was like, you know what? It's cheap. Let me pick it up. And I never used it until today. And I have to say, my mind is blown. It is absolutely blown. This palette is gorgeous. Outside it looks very similar. This one has her name in silver. This one has it in rose gold. This is supposed to be a 10 color eyeshadow, 4 color highlighter palette. So basically 14 colors. And this one is a 21 color eyeshadow palette. 14 colors, $14.50, 21 colors. This one retails for $22.50, but again, you can use the Ulta's $3.50 coupon and you will be spending like $19 plus tax on this one. If you have any additional coupons like I did, you will end up spending less. On the first glance, the two palettes may look alike. I have swatched the mattes from the old palette, and now I'm going to swatch kind of the comparable mattes from the new palette. Looks like the last one. So if you can see, somehow the new shades are much, much warmer than the old palette, and that was the first thing I have been very, very happy about when it comes to the new palette, because that was sort of my complaint, you can say, with the previous palette, that all the shades were very, very cool. Like, I really like this shade. I mean, I won't mind having this shade again, but besides that, the other shades just are so cool that they, weren't showing up as well. I feel like these newer shades have some shimmer to them as well, which I'm not a big fan of, but the formula feels a little bit better than the previous palette. Let me swatch the shades that are not present in the old palette. And these are kind of these shades of brown, which again, I'm very happy with. I personally love brown shadows. Now let's get into the shimmers. So if you notice, like I didn't even know that this one was a duochrome shadow until I watched Carli's latest video in which she says like, oh, this is a duochrome and I have kept that. And I was like, really? That's duochrome? I had to go back and swatch it and look at it like really closely. And then I was like, oh yeah, it is duochrome. How did I miss that? But for me, on my lids, these two don't give me a very different look. Like one day if I wore this, next day I wore that, they're going to say I'm wearing the same pretty much look. Then the other complaint I had was I felt like some of these colors got repeated in her face powders. 3, 4. Now I felt like this and this is pretty much the same. This is kind of in between these two. So why did she have to give me, you know, those 3? And, you know, like these two are quite similar. These two are quite similar. There isn't, you know, too much variation. And that was actually the reason why I had gone back and returned the palette, because I was like, you know, I don't get very diverse looks with this palette. Now let's swatch the shimmers from the new palette. I'm going to try and swatch the ones that I think are similar. Can you see that instantaneously these are more pigmented and not as powdery? And then this is kind of her darkest shade, which I think is this shade from the old palette. I don't know if BH Cosmetics themselves have changed their formula or what, but all the new shadows are like, you know, they're much better kind of formula. And now let's swatch the shades that seem new in the new palette. Look at it. And I'm not pressing down on the pan. This is another, you can say, slight variation. It's like a peachy gold, and she has added a kind of a darker mauve shade, which is amazing. Look at that. Isn't that gorgeous? Yeah, beautiful, isn't it? And then the face powders, she has given you these two like big pans. I like having a wider pan. I could fit my big brush in it today. I'm wearing both of these on me. This one, I like having a kind of pure just mica white. It makes a great inner corner highlight. This one, I thought that I would never use it because, you know, it looks like this light pink, and I was like, you know, let me just try using it as an inner corner highlight. And when I applied it, I was like, what? Is it blue? Is it actually blue? And I think it is. Can you guys see it? There seems to be like a blue or a purple flip to it. I was like, what? And then the last two shades are kind of similar, you can say, to what she had in the previous palettes. But again, look at how beautiful, you know, how much better these shadows are. I don't know what has happened. Like, you know, let me just swatch them right next to, because they look so similar in pans. Can you see? Look at that. They have definitely changed, you know, some things up. This time when I swatched it, I am noticing like a slight blue flip in this one as well, but it is definitely not, you know, as gorgeous as this. Like, can you see the blue flip in that particular one? Beautiful. Let me see, maybe this. So the old face powders, the new face powders, like, can you see this is like patchy? So all in all, I have to say this is a gorgeous, gorgeous palette. Gorgeous. Let me show you guys a quick demo of the look. I would highly recommend getting the new palette if you can. If you want to save some money and pick up the old palette, I don't think it's bad. If you are of lighter skin tone, this might work, you know, a little bit better for you. For darker skin tones, it's a little bit more limited. This palette is amazing, and you know, for $19, I think it's amazing. It's really good. I hope you guys enjoyed the video. If you did, please give it a thumbs up. Share it with anybody who's considering this palette. So do let me know if you guys have either of these palettes and how you like them, and you know, what kind of looks that you have been able to create with them. Okay.